and it is a true honor knowing that it was this club where I started in this hall working for Claudia McCormick when she ran for the Dublin City Council, and then Tom Torlakson and Mark DeSaulnier when he ran for Congress, worked out of this club to help him, and then as the UDC chair in 2008 when we first elected Barack Obama. We made so many calls to Nevada, so many calls to Ohio, and I've spent a lot of time in this club, and it's an honor to be back after my first year and to report to you what has been accomplished. And you know, I wish I could stand here and tell you that right now there's a vision forward for what we can do as a Democratic Party, and I wish I could tell you about what we could do to grow and expand our middle class, and what we could do for the innovation economy, and make sure that we could have STEM education for our kids so they can compete, and make sure that we have and can attract and bring in the best and brightest minds from across the world to our country. But right now, I feel like as Democrats, we are spending all of our time fixing what is broken in Washington. And there are a number of things that are broken and a number of fights that we are waging against a radical Tea Party back in Washington. And the first, at the top of the list for me, is fighting for equality. Right now, there are so many issues on the agenda right now that Democrats care about that the Republicans have blocked. The Employment Non-Discrimination Act. In over 20 states across the country, you can be fired. You can lose your job simply for being gay or lesbian. Over 20 states. Now, in the Senate, they have passed this. In the House, it's being blocked by Speaker Boehner. We have the Fair Pay Act to make sure that women get paid the same as men. Right now, women today only make 77 cents on the dollar for the same work that a man does. We can't get that moving forward in the House of Representatives because we have a radical Tea Party. When it comes to marriage equality, we saw the Tea Party and the Speaker of the House spend so much money, so many dollars, trying to fight against the Defense of Marriage, to try and fight and support the Defense of Marriage Act, to try and fight and support Prop 8. And we did have a battle, and it was such an honor to stand on the Supreme Court steps this year as we were able to see Prop 8 fall down, the Defense of Marriage Act fall down, and finally, love is love no matter where you are in the United States. If your state recognizes same-sex marriage, you can marry. California led the way in that respect, and that is because of the work that we did as Democrats. But there are many battles to wage. So I talked just a little bit about equality, but what about public safety? 1 year ago today, over 20 small children were murdered at the hands of a person who never should have had a gun in his hand and never should have been able to buy anywhere in our country a military-style assault weapon. But we don't have an assault weapons ban in this country. Rather, you can go to over 40 states and buy an assault weapon in this country. And it's absolutely shameful that right now we can't even pass background check requirements to make sure that the mentally ill or anyone with a criminal record isn't able to buy a gun. So we're waging battles in the House of Representatives right now as Democrats to just ask the simple proposition that if you have a mental illness or if you have a criminal record, you can't buy a firearm. And we weren't even able to pass that in the Senate. So there's a lot of work to be done. And hopefully it doesn't mean that more school shootings have to occur for us to do that. But as Democrats, we can't give up because we don't want to turn on the news and see that more school children or more innocent Americans at a supermarket or a mall or a movie theater had to be killed because we can't pass sensible, reasonable gun violence measures. But we're going to continue that fight. That fight is going to continue. Now, I talked about equality. I talked about public safety. One issue that is very, very important to our area, being one of the most diverse congressional districts in the entire country, is making sure that we pass comprehensive immigration reform. We saw in the Senate was able to pass with nearly 70 votes comprehensive immigration reform that puts a roadmap to citizenship for the 11 million undocumented individuals in our country. It ends the backlog of the family visa system, and it also takes measures that I think are a little too far, adding 20,000 border security agents called the border surge. I don't think we need, frankly, that many border security agents, but that's the compromise that was made to make sure that the undocumented had that roadmap to citizenship. We can't even get a vote, one single vote in the House of Representatives for Speaker Boehner to allow us to bring that forward and show that we have the majority of the House that wants comprehensive immigration reform. And we know as Democrats have always been ahead on this issue. We know that this country was built by the hearts, minds, and hands of immigrants. We know that at the base of the Statue of Liberty, which would greet millions of immigrants as they came through New York Harbor and made it to their way at Ellis Island, that there's a poem from Emma Lazarus, which partially reads, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses." We have always been a country that embraces immigrants. Democrats will lead the way on this issue. I would rather have the victory on this than the issue. We know it's a good political issue. We know that we can continue to pick up seats with this issue, but the right thing to do is pass comprehensive immigration reform right now. And Democrats will continue to There's one issue that's a little bit uncomfortable because I've spoken out against it and our own president has supported it. And I deeply believe in President Obama and what his administration has stood for and how far forward he has taken the country. But I am sorry, my cell phone records, your cell phone records, your neighbor's cell phone records, no one's cell phone records, no law-abiding American should have their cell phone records downloaded every single day and stored by the National Security Agency. That's not the country. I was a prosecutor for 7 years, and the last 3 homicide trials that I prosecuted in front of a jury were greatly advanced, and I received guilty convictions on those with the help of cell phone records that were put in front of the jury. But every single record that I pulled, a judge reviewed it and a judge signed off on it. We have never been a country that has sacrificed our privacy for our security. And so I will continue to speak out. I voted to defund the NSA program. That will continue unless we speak up as Democrats. And we have to tell our president that Democrats have always believed that we can have national security and privacy, and we're never going to back off on that. So we have issues of equality, we have issues of public safety, issues of immigration reform, and issues of privacy. But one issue that is so important to this club, and I know it because I've been there on the front lines, is this club has taken up a number of times. We have to get rid of the outside influence of corporate money on elections. $6 billion was spent in the last. And maybe I'm a little biased because it was just reported a couple weeks ago that my last opponent has a $15 million super PAC target on my back. But I truly believe that the reason Jerry McNerney was elected to Congress, the reason that I was able to get elected to Congress, the reason that so many of the people that this club has supported has been elected to Congress is because of the grassroots efforts that people in this club have brought forward and not the outside, unchecked, untransparent corporate dollars that come in. And so I'm going to continue to fight. I support having public finance elections. I support having any way that we can hold corporations accountable, because corporations, my friends, corporations are not people. Every person I know, and then as I said, I prosecuted some very, very bad people, but every person I know has a heart. Not every corporation I know has a heart, and not every corporation I know has our best interests at mind. And so as long as we have unchecked corporate dollars coming into our races, we will not be the true democracy that our founding fathers envisioned. So I'm going to continue to fight against the outside influence of corporate dollars. I know that's one of the #1 issues that's so important to people in our club like Ellis and Joe and Sharon. And you will always have a partner in me. But I want to tell you, what I have painted for you may be a very pessimistic, dismal view of what's going on in the Congress. But I hope you see it as an opportunity. an opportunity for us to continue to fight to bring equality, an opportunity for us to continue to fight to bring background checks and a ban on assault weapons, an opportunity to make sure that we are a country of immigrants, and an opportunity to make sure that our government is never spying on innocent Americans. And going forward, I have to tell you, I look back. I look back and I think that having been alive for 33 years, never in my lifetime did I go to school where African Americans and white children were separated. I look back and I see that as bad as things have been for gay Americans in our country, never did I have to see a gay American prosecuted for what that person believed in. I look back and I see that in my 33 years, my grandparents and now my parents, when they retire, they have retirement security now in Social Security and Medicare. About 50 years ago, none of that was true. The rights of African Americans were extremely limited. They weren't allowed to associate with whites. They didn't have all the rights that they have today. Gay Americans were prosecuted just for being gay, and there was no retirement security for our seniors. All of those things are true today, and I didn't have to see any of that because of the work of the Democratic Party. So we will march on. We will bring equality for women. We will make sure we have comprehensive immigration reform. We will march on. We will make sure we don't have a government that spies on us, and we will take dirty corporate money out of politics. So hopefully, 33 years from now, someone looks back and says, I never knew a day where women weren't paid the same as men. Right. I never knew a day where immigrants weren't allowed to be a part of the fabric of our country. I never knew a day where the government spied on innocent Americans. And I never knew a day where corporate America would dump endless amounts of money into and influence elections. Those days are coming, but only if we continue our march. And so I'm there with you. I will continue to be a partner, and I need you to continue to work with me, because I will fight till my last day as long as I have my club behind me. You've always been behind me, and I'll always be with you. So thank you so much.
I want to introduce you to somebody. This lady, Michael Joy, is the first president of the Tri-Valley Democratic Club 64 years ago, my reckoning. Hello.
Hello.
Well,
I also wanted to give everybody kind of a lay of the land before this is
54,
over.
but that's okay.
Regarding the assembly race,